Hi there. Welcome to another BioDevils podcast. Today we're going to be talking about some Ninja Gaiden, specifically the original hack and slash Ninja Gaiden game. And joined with me for this podcast is my good friend DevilHunterJames. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've been on one of these.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've actually done a podcast, actually. Couple of months ago since the Dead Space podcast, which I've only just recently rendered. So we gotta get back on just doing podcasts. I've been neglecting to do them, but we're gonna get around to it,
Slacking on
hopefully.
them uploads.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have work, and work that kicks the shit out of you. So, but we're not here to talk about some work, or are we? What we are here to talk about is some Ninja Gaiden, as I've said, and the original hack and slash game that came out back in the early 2000s for the original Xbox, later on the PlayStation 3, and many other platforms to follow after the fact. So I just want to start off this podcast by asking, how was your first introduction to this particular entry within the franchise?
I always heard of Ninja Gaiden 1. Are we talking Sigma or does it not matter which one, by the way?
Uh, Not particularly. No, I'm gonna use footage of Sigma because that's the one that I have available. But you could talk about any particular version of the original Ninja Gaiden one.
Well, I kind of got introduced to Team Ninja in general from like Dead or Alive and then subsequently Ninja Gaiden,
Mm.
like later down the line. Um, gosh, oh my God, it's been so long. I think it was Ninja Gaiden Black was first. I never played Black, but I've seen people play it and talk about it way back when. So I was like, oh, it's interesting. And I had an Xbox, so actually it was mainly Ninja Gaiden 2 was my first one, and then I retroactively got into the rest of them after the fact.
Yeah, yeah,
2 was my onboarding, like how DMC4 was my onboarding for the series for Devil May Cry.
yeah. For me, it was a little different because like I did not like I knew of Ninja Gaiden actually through like AVGN because he talked about the like classic series, right? But I didn't know that there was the hack and slash games per se. And I kind of forgot about them at the time when I found out about the hack and slash game.
Mm.
But it was funny for me because it was like I, I I remember how I got my copy of Ninja Gaiden Sigma on PS3 originally. I was going to a GameStop with my mom at the time, and she let me and my brother get a game. No particular reason. She didn't explain why. She was just like, "Yeah, just pick out a game," right? And I looked around, and I wasn't sure what to get, and Ninja Gaiden for some reason just stood out to me on that day. I guess because I was just so desperately looking for something that was going to fill the void of not having an Onimusha for the longest time. And, it kind of spoke to me because it was like, well, this kind of looks like that, but also kind of looks like something else. So I really wanted to play it, and I'm glad I did because it was probably one of the best experiences I've had as a 15-year-old boy in, you know, at that point looking for anything else that isn't necessarily Onimusha, but will fill the void for the time being, right?
Definitely.
And
Especially just there's a lot of similar themes with the first game pushes the demon stuff a lot too. So
yeah,
I was kind of making the joke Masakato from one looks straight out of Onimusha game, like completely. If you pulled him out and put him in there, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
well, and the funny thing is too is I think I am working on a video. I'm not gonna say what it is exactly per se, but it is tied to Onimusha to some degree. Well, Ninja Gaiden in particular, right? Like that first area, right? First few chapters of the game feel very Onimusha in the sense that okay, you're in this seemingly feudal Japanese like location. It's in remote in the mountains. You've got ninjas, you've got samurai, you've got all sorts of stuff going on, right? And then demons start popping up. They're not quite exactly demon looking yet, right? And then the game really opens up once you get to the airship and then the Vigorian Empire, right?
Mm.
So, but it's such a great hook to get you like so invested into the game. I think.
Also, a bit of a subversion because you might look at the game at first and think it actually is feudal Japan, but no,
Mm-hmm.
it is modern day. It's just the Hayabusa clan likes to live in a traditional fashion in the mountains.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think like going off of that too. Um, that's one of the greatest things about that game is that it subverts expectations. It like you start to hang around certain areas and then you go to a new area and it like completely blows that expectation out of the waters. Um, and I feel like it's always just kind of like a what Ninja Gaiden does really great is like making the locations feel varied and unique.
Especially for the first game.
Mm. Uh, which, since we're on that topic, do you have any particular favorite areas that you like in the original Ninja Gaiden?
Well, of course, I gotta say Hayabusa Village is just beautiful, especially in Sigma where they added a couple more effects. I think they added the falling leaves and stuff. I don't think that was in Black.
Uh,
They added Bloom, which take it or leave it, it kind of works for that game.
I believe the bloom and the leaves were specifically from Sigma,
Yeah.
which I do agree. I think it does actually add to the color scheme of that game.
And this was like an early PS3 thing, so like Bloom was the new hotness.
Yeah, well, to be fair, like the Xbox is completely capable of doing bloom. Like if you've ever seen like Shenmue 2, for example, that's a game that utilizes bloom very well, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I think specifically because of the fact that it jumped from the original Xbox to the PS3, which is you know superior hardware by comparison, right? Because we're going one console generation over, right? They had the hardware basically to handle like additional technology that the Xbox wouldn't have been able to handle, not without tanking performance to some degree.
Yeah, unfortunately, that did become a problem with the series in general with the performance tanking.
But yeah, I would agree with you that I think Hayabusa Village is just it's just a very memorable location in the original Ninja Gaiden, and also a recurring location in the series to some degree.
Except for 4, for some reason that never happens.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But I with with Hayabusa Village aside, I also really enjoy a lot of the locations in the Vigorian Empire, like the club, for example, or like the cathedral. Like there's so
Everybody likes the cathedral. That's become like a very classic staple stage. They keep bringing it back in 2 and 3. 2 has a cathedral in the Russian level
yeah.
when you fight Zidonius. And 3, they just straight up in the trial and some of the Crystal Skull challenges, they just reuse the room. because I guess everybody likes Alma's boss arena.
Yeah, it's I just think that like when it comes to like Ninja Gaiden 1 locations, they're just so nice to look at. I think my cat wants in, so give me one moment while you
Yeah, I would actually elect the I would elect. I was gonna call it the water temple, but that's not quite right. It's these sewers,
Mhm.
but it basically has this underground water labyrinth, and I kind of like that location.
Yeah,
It looks
the
better on the Xbox in black because it had Dom. You know the water physics we were talking about in Onimusha 3.
mm-hmm.
It's got that effect. This is something that is lost in Sigma. They weren't able to replicate the way the water looks in Sigma, so they gave it this really crappy 2D texture instead of the 3D Jello look that Black has, which is really
Interesting.
unfortunate. The water was nice in that version. Yeah, it's drastically different looking. It's a lot better looking in the Xbox version. But Sigma wins in every other department minus the water, graphically. Yeah, I would say go look that up. It's quite a stark difference.
Yeah, it's the aqueducts, right?
Yeah, the Aqueduct. That's what it is. Yeah, that location I like. It's quite a bit to it. It's got a lot of puzzle stuff. It's one of the other times you fight your doppelganger. I think it's the second time you fight him if you're on hard and above.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, and actually, speaking of Ninja Gaiden Black 2, it's well, the original Ninja Gaiden Black. And when I say two, I mean also. Just to clarify, because there is also a Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, but we're not talking about that game today yet. So, but
Mm.
the nice thing about that original, or rather that edition of Ninja Gaiden 1 is that you can play it on an Xbox through backwards compatibility, on top of being able to play the Sigma port of Ninja Gaiden. So, weirdly enough, it is like if you wanted to experience the differences in terms of visuals or just even gameplay. I don't know if there's like major gameplay differences between Ninja Gaiden Black and Sigma because I've only played the Sigma version, so that's the one that I'm the most familiar with. Um, you could get an Xbox and basically play any version of Ninja Gaiden 1 or any of the other Ninja
Every
Gaidens.
version.
Yeah. Well, you can't play
I say
vanilla
if you
Ninja Gaiden.
are no, unfortunately, that's the only one. But honestly, 2004 is its own weird quirks. But like, you're not missing anything. Black and Sigma are much better.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, it's which like I haven't really seen how good it looks on an Xbox because I'm sure it looks pretty nice with the upscaling technology that they have, being upscaled to like 4K and stuff like that. Um, but on the
Is it
even on
Microsoft doing that emulator soon?
well, that's the rumor is that there's potential that we might be able to play original Xbox and 360 games on PC, which I'm really hoping that's the case because then I don't necessarily have to buy an Xbox in order to play the games that I already own. I mean, I guess I would have to buy them again, but some of those games have been delisted from the Microsoft Store due to licensing issues. Um, so I guess take it or leave it. But for the games that are still there, right? And I think Ninja Gaiden, for example, is still something that you can purchase on that storefront. Um, I mean, it would be pretty nice to be able to play Ninja Gaiden Black on PC thanks to a potential backwards compatibility feature being carried over to PC.
And vanilla too. That's like a big one.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I think you were mentioning something before, way back when about like fans working on some uh, some additions or ports or whatever.
Someone was trying to do a recompilation, but it's been going pretty slow from what I've seen.
Uh,
Honestly, if Xbox does this emulator thing, I would be all for that.
Mhm. Yeah, I would be too. I think it would just be really convenient, just to be able to play any version of Ninja Gaiden, I don't know about you, but like for me personally, like I enjoy being able to play a different version of a game that I've already played. If it means that there's some kind of difference between that version and the version that I might prefer, the version that I'm more familiar with. Because I like thinking about like, oh, like what are the differences in that version, and what if they re-release the game again, and what if they combined elements of certain versions of said game, right? And Ninja Gaiden is kind of no different with that. So yeah, I think it would be really nice if I could play Ninja Gaiden Black on PC, for example, because I've never played that version.
The community would not have to ask Team Ninja for anything again because they'll just mod the hell out of it themselves.
That would be nice too, yeah, just to see what the community could do with mods and stuff like that. Um, no, I gotta ask, with Ninja Gaiden, we've had different editions. In this case, with Ninja Gaiden One, we've had the vanilla version, Black, and Sigma, right? Um, do you think Team Ninja should go out of their way to do something similar to what they did with Ninja Gaiden 2 recently, where they made the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black edition, where it's a new edition of the game with some visual changes and some possible changes to the like gameplay mechanics, or even just certain features and functionality similar to what that game did.
Yes, but I would prefer it not on Unreal, but I feel like if they do, it probably will still go for that engine. I'm not really a big fan of like the technical problems Unreal 5 still has. I wish they would use
Mm.
their own proprietary engine, but I guess beggars can't be choosers on this.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Um, Personally, like I would really like to see it. Um, I am in agreement with you that I think Unreal is currently just an overused engine. I do wish we would go back to the days of companies doing more proprietary stuff, but I understand why companies also rely on engines like Unreal or even Unity to an extent, simply for cost efficiency. But yeah, I think it would be like super neat if we could get, say, like a, well, we've already had a Ninja Gaiden Black and a Ninja Gaiden Sigma, so in this case, would they call it Razor's Edge? Like, I don't know. What do you think they would call that edition
White.
then?
I'm only Jeff joking. I don't know. I don't think they could call it black again because like that has a different connotation to it.
Yeah.
Although at NG2 they chose to do it, and in my opinion, it didn't really live up quite to the moniker of black. Black has like a heavy meaning for this series. Like it's a kind of means the game is of gold standard quality to the fandom. So like that is a name they kind of use a little too loosely. So I don't know what they would call it. That's a good question.
Like, I would assume Razor's Edge, just because, we don't have a Razor's Edge for one, right? And three is the only game to ever use that, like, subtitle.
Well, I'm not sure only because of two, because now two is using black. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna use Razor's Edge for anything else, or maybe it'll get a different name. Freaking Ninja Definitive Collection, like I don't know.
Ninja Gaiden Beta. I, I don't know. I mean, like, because we already used Sigma, you might as well use these other, what is it, Greek letters, right?
That's if Yakumo gets a sequel. I mean, what?
Well, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, like I guess because we were sort of talking about this earlier since I was playing Sigma on PC earlier. Uh, I mostly would like to see like just the visual changes, but I think there are a couple of like mechanical things, not like not gameplay wise, but just a couple of things I would probably tweak, from the original game. Like I would probably change the bow to be more in line with the other games, just because it is the most jarring to use in that game. But
Uh, hmm.
like,
Go
oh,
on.
yeah, like I don't. Excuse my chair because my chair is like fighting me here, uh, but like I think I don't know. It's kind of difficult to think of like what you could really do with Ninja Gaiden 1 because I feel like it's a pretty solid game overall. Uh, but
Very. It's the most balanced out of all the games, and honestly, even though I like 2 and 3 more just for the gameplay wise, like I like everything else about one over all the other ones.
mm,
It has the most quality. It feels like it has the most Team Ninja shoved into it, if that makes sense. Like they're trademark them type of thing. Like this is absolutely a Team Ninja game
yeah,
outside of like Dead or Alive. Also, you can tell it's Itagaki. Like it's very obviously him when you start realizing that.
I would also argue that 1 is the most unique of the games. And I mainly say that because of the exploration part of Ninja Gaiden 1, which we haven't even really delved into too much. Um, like we talked about this before we actually started this podcast. Like one of the one of the best things about Ninja Gaiden 1 that all the other games kind of fail to replicate, so to speak, is the amount of exploration and traveling that you do in Ninja Gaiden 1. Because it's not just Ninja Gaiden 1 is not just a hack and slash game, it's also an action adventure game. So you're going through all these different places, and it's not constant combat per se, which is I would say is pretty unique for that specific game.
Yeah, I wish the other two games, like two is okay. I don't think two is bad on the exploration, but it's just less, and it's more of like a linear path thing. Uh, this is an interesting comparison that I never thought I would make, but Ninja Gaiden 1 kind of has a Dark Souls 1 feel with the map design, if that makes any sense. You played a little bit
Uh,
of 1, you might know what I mean, where it's very interconnected.
I would I think maybe a better comparison might be. I understand what you mean, but I think a better comparison would be Devil May Cry 1 because it was coming out around the time where
Also valid.
everybody's trying to make their own Devil May Cry, right? Because we had Ninja Gaiden, we had God of War. Um, what else came out during that era? Um,
I mean, Onimusha was around, so
oh,
like that
yeah,
counts.
yeah, we had Onimusha, but that was also Capcom. So I'm trying to think like outside of Capcom, who else had some stuff. Um, Probably had a couple of other things that people just didn't care for, like shovelware stuff. Oh, there was that Blade 2 movie tie-in, but that was like really really trash. Um, I think there was a Spawn game that also tried to copy Devil May Cry to some degree.
You're thinking
Um,
of the Ghost Rider game.
there was Ghost Rider, but I'm pretty certain there was also a Spawn game that to a degree did try to do some Devil May Cry esque like combat. Um, but anyway, that's I guess that's beside the point. Like Ninja Gaiden was kind of in that era of, well, Devil May Cry was such a success for Capcom, we could do it too, right?
Except
So
for NG itself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Koei
Yeah, I do
Tecmo and
wonder. I
Team
would
Ninja
love
at the
like
time. Yeah. Mhm.
I would love a behind the scenes of like how they came up with the way the world design was. I think they were just ambitious and wanted to make it.
Yeah.
This is something I miss about old Team Ninja that I really don't think we have these days. Is they just don't have the same ambition. I know a lot of guys have left, so that's part of the reason why. Like they have a lot of new people now that aren't from the like two staff and onward. Um, I don't know. I miss when Team Ninja was always trying to push their tech, whatever it is, boob physics, water. Like they did everything. I kind of miss those days when they were really pushing the boundaries of what you can do. Especially if you play Ninja Gaiden Black, it's very evident that game was like a console technical showcase of like what this thing can actually do when somebody knows how to use it.
Actually, I think there was something around why Itagaki wanted to work on the Xbox in particular. Um,
It had more power. That's the reason.
okay, yeah, because I
I'm
was thinking it was like
simpler than it
some kind
sounds.
of I was thinking it was like gonna be like some like deal between Team Ninja and
I mean,
Microsoft,
it
you know?
ended up being a deal of being exclusive as a point to sell the Xbox, along with like Halo and all the other stuff that was coming out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Itagaki wanted to use the Xbox because he wanted to use the platform that he thought had the most power at the time.
Mhm.
Because they did show that the Xbox was stronger than the PS2, which, yeah, out of all three of those generation, the original Xbox is by far stronger than the GameCube and the PlayStation 2.
For sure, yeah. Well, and I think that was also the best choice, um, given the fact that what ended up becoming the later editions of Ninja Gaiden as well, it gives it a very unique visual style that I don't think you would be able to replicate on like the PS2, or even if you could, right? Um, you'd have to downgrade it significantly, similar to like some other some other games that we've seen show up on like PS2, for example, like Resident Evil 4, where that game started off as a GameCube game, but they had to port it over. Well, eventually they decided to port it over to the PS2, and they had to do some technical things to make it look the way that it looks while still making it run very well on the PlayStation 2 for the time. So I think it's genuinely impressive what they were able to do with the game. Even though I've only played that initially, at least that PS3 version. I've since played the PS4 and PC port at this point, but yeah, it's nice to think about that, like what they were capable of back in the day versus like what the team is doing now. Uh, what was I gonna ask? The the thing with Ninja Gaiden's like gameplay design, right? It's got a lot of like that balance between like exploration and action adventure. Do you think that would be fitting for a new Ninja Gaiden game, or do you think that what they did after the fact, was more heavily focused on just the hack and slash sort of elements? Do you think that that was just a better choice to move forward with versus what they initially started off with?
Um, I guess it kind of worked out, right? I guess because Ninja Gaiden 2 is very well known at this point. For
Mm-hmm.
better or worse, it's well known. And they chose to make it more linear in favor of focusing on the action mechanics. I think it was the right idea at the time, but I know 2 was also rushed towards the end, so maybe they could have fixed it up more. I would have preferred if they had level design still intact.
Yeah.
But it seems like, just from the way the game is, it seems like from the get-go it was going to be like a globe-trotting adventure.
Yeah, I'm very split on this when I think about it because I would like the exploration in particular, like that aspect of Ninja Gaiden 1 to somehow make a return. But I do think the games that followed the initial Ninja Gaiden, from just the combat standpoint, they are significantly better. Although to be fair, Ninja Gaiden 1's combat isn't bad by any means. It's just it is very deliberately designed, the way that it is for how the combat and the mechanics work and how the levels are designed and stuff like that and how the enemies are designed. Whereas that's not to say that the games after the fact aren't. It's just that they're designed with a completely different philosophy in mind. But I don't know if you would agree or disagree with that.
You're probably right about that. I think it's just different philosophies.
Uh, so with it's like we've already talked about combat a little bit. We've talked about level design. Something else we haven't really talked about though is the weapons, right? One of the key things about Ninja Gaiden or any hack and slash really is the weapons and the weapon variety, right?
Mm.
What are some of your favorite weapons in Ninja Gaiden 1?
Just in one. Okay. Oh gosh. The Kotetsu is pretty sick. I think that's a bit of an underrated weapon. It is Doku's main sword. It steals health. It has a grab move that you're invincible and steal health off of them from. It has its own unique kind of spinning type of move set where it uses the sheath as well, so that's pretty sick. Uh, if I had to pick any other one, I guess the Debilero is hard to go wrong with. Before Endless Fang, we had the Debilero, and that thing was insane. And they kind of pretty much have the same move set. Hard to go wrong with the big great sword on Ryu. I
Yeah,
would have said the dual swords, but they're my favorite in 2. I don't like them in 1. Like, don't get me wrong, they're overpowered in 1, but their moveset's kind of crappy. It's like very unfinished feeling compared to 2. Because the dual swords are not in Sigma 1. Or not in Sigma 1. They weren't in Black. Sigma added them. So I wonder if that's one reason why they feel a little off. They were not originally designed with the game in mind. They were like
I could see that.
retroactively
Yeah,
added in.
yeah, I could see
I don't know
that.
what the real reason is. Very powerful, but the moveset's very lacking for the dual swords. It doesn't have that much variety in its moveset. Just do Rise to Heaven or do the strong attack combo, and it's kind of GG's. That thing's really good. Otherwise, those are my main favorites. What about you?
Ironically enough, I was actually gonna say the dual swords, the dragon's fang and tiger's claw is what they're called. Because if you if you read the lore description on them, they say they actually belong to Musashi. So you already know how I feel about the actual historical figure and just seeing him in fiction. I'm just an absolute fanboy for Musashi. So knowing that like I get to use his swords as a ninja, that's just pretty awesome. I think I think the wooden sword is also like a second favorite, just because it becomes unflawed labor. Am I saying it right?
Unlabored
It's
flawlessness.
yeah. I'm like yeah. I'm saying it backwards. Unflawed labor.
The big old paddle.
I'm still saying it backwards. I like yeah, yeah. But yeah, the big old fuck you stick. It's amazing because if I remember right, it scales how much damage you deal based on how much health you've lost. So
Correct.
the less health you have, the stronger it is. Which is funny
Yeah, and if you're
because
really good at the game, you'll intentionally get yourself at low health just to destroy everything. You can kill bosses in like 4 hits or something. It gets kind of stupid if you're at critical health.
it's funny because that sword in particular, the most of the other weapons in the game, when you upgrade them, they specifically gain power. But the wooden sword in particular, it even says as you're upgrading it, you're actually making it weaker. But the whole point of making it weaker and why it has so many upgrades to begin with is because you get that final form. So it's a return in investment, so to speak. But I would say that's another one that I just like, just because of the ability for it. Uh, Davi's also just a really good, great sword. Like you said, it's just a lot of fun to use. Uh,
UT is also busted on that thing. That's just an energy wave.
yeah, yeah,
And when you get it up higher, the UT hits in 3 directions, so it's even more busted.
yeah. Then and really great for the caves later when you're going through the catacombs. That's just really good to
Oh,
have.
I should have mentioned the Vigorian flails. They're
I
amazing in 2 especially. Like I love them in that game.
I'm not particularly a fan of them, but I think it's just because they have a very specific use case in both one and two, more so in one. Two, you
Yeah,
can
give them a little practice. I was the only weapon I've still never to this day been fond of is the Kusarigama until 3. 3 they did it right.
really. That's
Yeah, although 2, at least in 2 they introduced well, I think they introduced the weapon in general in 2, but in 2 you could grab enemies and lob a limb off. And you were invincible doing that, so it was actually really handy.
mm,
And 3 they sped it up and gave it a bomb on the end of it. So like it just made it even better.
yeah. We're one of these days we're gonna have to just talk about Ninja Gaiden weapons. I think because there's just a lot of fun weapons to use throughout the series. Um, I would say the Dark Dragon Blade, but I've never actually played through the game on any of the difficulties higher than hard. I really got to do that at some point because I know you do actually have the chance to use the Dark Dragon Blade, and it is one of the better weapons to use for those higher difficulties. So, but it is cool that you
It's
do get to
slow, but
use
it
it.
does a lot of damage. You do get to use it in some ninja trials. You get it as a weapon, so
Oh, okay,
there's
yeah.
also that.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Ninja trials, like ninja trials are they're kind of like secret missions in Devil May Cry, so to speak. Except for you get to do them post game, and those are pretty neat. Like you get to challenge yourself, go up against different bosses, different challenges like hordes of enemies and stuff like that. Some of them with like I think some of them do have like timers, or they'll put up like certain restrictions and stuff like that. Um, but it's like more stuff for you to do. So if you like the main game, which is already challenging enough as is, Ninja Trials are a good way to challenge yourself further.
And they're pretty fun in the first game. There's only a couple that are actually hard in the first one. Most of it is pretty fair.
Mm.
2 and 3 is where the Ninja Trials started getting the bad rap for being kind of on the bullshit side. I should know. My platinum runs were sanity testing, let's just say, at some point. It would help if they put the co-op back in, but that's a rant for another time.
Did one even have the co-op? Or was that specifically
No.
from 2?
Sigma 2 started it.
Okay.
Vanilla 2 didn't have it either. Sigma 1 did another mode, which was survival mode, which was nice.
Why am I forgetting survival mode? I don't think I'm messing with that at
So
all.
for one, it was to kill as many enemies as you can type of thing, and they would give you the gimmick of like you have to deal with only the dragon sword or the dual sword, stuff like that. They had a bunch of those. I don't think they had any other modes besides survival and the Ninja Trials. I think that was mainly it outside of the story mode.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember
I'll tell you
survival
what
mode.
NG could have done was a practice mode.
Yeah, but we didn't get that till way later.
No, you pretty much just had to play the game. That was practice. Just play it and get used to it.
That seems to be a trend with a lot of hack and slash games, though. To be fair, so they don't add in a training mode until like way later. Unless if you're Bayonetta.
DMC5 and NG4.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless if you're Bayonetta, in which case you just put that in the loading screen because there's enough time for you to do it. Unless if you play it on PC. But we're not here to talk about Bayonetta. But yeah, it's I think especially Ninja Gaiden 1 would have benefited from a training mode because there's so many different moves in Ninja Gaiden 1, especially. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but Ninja Gaiden does take some of the like fighting game logic from DOA and implements that into the combat specifically.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, it's one of the neat aspects of that game because like even when you switch over to play as Rachel in Ninja Gaiden 1 because
Me girl.
which I think that was a Sigma specific edition if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So like
Very controversial edition for some of the fandom. It kind of has the same issue people don't like in Sigma 2 where it's cool you can play as them, but they don't like that it takes you away from Ryu to play as them, which I understand. I think if they made them optional extra chapters you could play separate from Ryu, that would have been a good compromise.
we're just a toggle.
Rachel, I don't find it that annoying in the first game because she only has like 2 chapters. She doesn't have a whole lot. She has like 2 or 3 chapters to herself, and they're short, so it's not really that big a whoop. That's just my personal take. I know that most of the fandom is not on board with them constantly taking you away from Ryu.
I personally don't mind it, but that's partly possibly because of the fact that I have, or probably because I have, that first experience with Ninja Gaiden Sigma. And that's the only experience that I have with the first hack and slash game is through Sigma. So that's probably where I'm going to be a little bit biased and say I don't particularly mind it. But I will say, though, I would understand why somebody doesn't like that, or I would also even argue that I think it would make a little more sense if they, let's say if we go back to what we were talking about earlier with like doing another edition of Ninja Gaiden 1, for example. if they gave you the option to have a toggle where you can go through those missions seamlessly or do them separately, so to speak, kind of like a dedicated chapter thing for Ryu for Rachel, right? So I understand it to a degree.
Yeah, personally, it doesn't really bother me too much. Most of my experience with one is also with Sigma one, so it's like I'm already kind of used to it. Plus, I mean, as a DMC fan, I'm kind of used to being forced to switch characters nowadays.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it is what it is.
yeah. Um, actually, that is one thing that I do want to talk about. With because I don't think Ayane was ever playable in any version of Ninja Gaiden One. Uh,
No, unfortunately.
do you think that they should make her playable in say like a re-release of Ninja Gaiden One, or
I would
should I
be down
say?
for it as long as they don't make her weak like in 2 where they had to buff her.
Hmm.
If she's as good as she is in, well, she doesn't have to be as good as 3. 3 is she is on steroids in that game. She's insanely good.
She's really fast in three.
Yeah,
I
she
actually
is a
do
little
really
monster.
like
I
that.
love her in 3. Yeah, all the girls are good in 3. I'm just mad 3 doesn't have Rachel. Really whiffed on that one.
Yeah,
So
that is
I like
strange.
Kasumi, but I would have traded her for Rachel pretty fast.
Yeah, it is strange that she's not in three, but yeah, I think it would be neat to play as Ayane in Ninja Gaiden One, because she's always following Ryu, right, and she's just kind of like observing most of the time, except for that one instance where in the beginning of the game where Ryu finds her and she was beaten, right. Um, Other than that, she's just mostly observing, not really getting into combat as far as we know. So it'd be kind of neat to see like what is she doing in her perspective of the story, right?
Yeah, they could have a few chapters. I'm curious what she's doing outside of. I guess she is just kind of scouting Ryu around. So every time Ryu needs, something from her, she just shows up. So it's kind of funny. She's pretty much tailing him.
Yeah, yeah.
She also shows up and says that you're a ninja dog if you choose that to abandon the way of the ninja or whatever the game over screen is if you die enough times. It's basically easy mode is now selectable.
Yeah, yeah. Which it's a funny way to insult the player, I think, to be quite honest. Like like you
I
suck.
forget exactly what she says to Ryu, but she says something, "Oh, Master Ryu, you weren't ready," type of thing. She's like, "Okay, I got you." I have to look up the quote, but yeah, she does demean Ryu and therefore demeans the player.
Yeah. Which funny enough for anybody that
I miss
doesn't
those
know,
days.
I know you know this story in particular. When they were developing uh, Ninja Gaiden originally, the playtesters said it was too hard. So Itagaki was
That was for
like,
2.
"Oh, was it for two? I thought it was for one."
No, it's for 2 specifically. I remember the dev diaries for that.
Yeah, because I thought it was for one, where it was like, "Oh, it was too hard," so they made it harder.
I've only heard that from the 2 documentary. Like maybe somebody will correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's from that.
Yeah, let me double check.
I absolutely remember it from the 2 because 2 is kicking everyone's ass. Poor QA testers.
Uh, yeah, I'm could have sworn it was one. Yes, it was. It was Ninja Gaiden one.
Is it?
Yeah, it is Ninja Gaiden 1.
I guess he carried that to 2 then, because they made 2 harder as well.
Yeah, because they said it was too hard. So after he got that feedback, he was just like, "I'm just gonna make it harder," which I think is like the funniest thing you could do. Is just like you hear that feedback of, "Oh, the game is too hard. Let me just make it harder," so that they could cry more. Like, it's great. I wish we had more devs doing that. Um, where it's like if somebody says it's too hard, right, and nobody wants to go through it because they want like easy mode right off the bat or like difficulty mode, right? Um, yeah, I think that's like the best counter solution to that is just make the game harder on purpose and out of spite.
Yeah, nowadays I'm a little more wary of that mentality, but back then it was a bit different.
Yeah.
Now it's like you bitched that the game was too easy, so we made it completely the other end of the scale. Now the game's ruined.
Yeah, well,
That stuff happens a lot more than you think now.
yeah, well, how can I put it? It's like if a developer does that, right? Like I would much rather prefer that they do it in a way where it's like, yeah, it's harder, but it's also fairly balanced, right? And if you know what you're doing, you could absolutely persevere versus like it is completely skewed against the player because that's what we do see a lot with these modern games. So I do agree with you in that respect. Um, yeah. So we've talked a little bit about combat and weapons and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on the soundtrack for Ninja Gaiden?
I like all of them pretty much soundtrack wise. I never really had a NG where I don't like it.
Hmm.
One has a lot of atmospheric tracks. I think it has the most tracks in the series actually. So it has a lot of battle and then atmosphere stuff.
Definitely a lot of atmosphere.
Uh NG2 bounce into more. I don't know. No, they kind of are similar. 1 and 2 didn't really jump too hard. 2 just had more techno thrown in. 1 has more how do I phrase it? It's not dubstep, but it's got some like synthesized wubs to it in some places. Like when you go to the catacombs, you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I would say
Got like
it's
weird dance mix stuff. Like if you ever heard Rachel's theme, it's literally sounds like dance music.
it's got like a kind of like a rave vibe to it.
Yeah, and
Uh,
for some reason, the name of her theme is "God Bless You" or something like that. Like, huh? I wonder what the reference is with that.
it might just be because of the fact that like that's kind of her theme. Because like I think she doesn't use Nimpo. She uses like
Sorcery.
yeah, sorcery. So it might have to deal with like the themes of her combat and stuff like that and her character.
I just wonder why, if you actually look it up, they spelled it with the literal letter U. So it's God bless the letter U. I was like, okay, interesting. I'm just curious why they even spelled it that way. That's odd.
Yeah, that is an
But, I like the Sigma One made this change since we're talking music. The main menu theme,
mm-hmm.
which is the supply base, the supply military base theme. They pretty much it was in black, but the main menu theme was not that in the earlier versions of the game. Sigma One changed it to where the supply base is the main theme of the game. And I actually like that they changed it. Very hype to start up the game too.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I I'm a sucker for that Hayabusa village theme. in the original game. I just like the way that flute sounds.
I feel like it gives you Onimusha flashbacks.
It does to a degree.
I
Um,
figured. I know you too well.
but I also like the beginning of I like the beginning of the game as well when you're going up to Morai's fortress. Um, it's got that like atmosphere to it, right? Because that's what I like the most about Ninja Gaiden 1. It's got those very atmospheric tracks like you brought up. Because like even when you get to the Vigorian Empire, right? It's got this like I don't know what you would call it. I'm not like I'm not musically fluent, so to speak, so I don't know how to describe the term. Um, but you can kind of hear like a guitar string, right, in the middle of that like,
I know what you mean.
and then it kind of has like that chime going. Um,
Jesus, like yeah, like I'm looking up some of the playlists. Um, oh, so somebody combined Ninja Gaiden Vanilla 2 and Sigma 2's OST, which rounded out to like 65 videos, and then Sigma 1 has like 69. Haha.
nice.
So I'm pretty sure Sigma has the most soundtracks just because they added stuff over and over again. So it's got like Black Stuff 2004 and then whatever Sigma added. So I think it combined all of them to one soundtrack.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think Sigma 1 has the most music in the series in one game.
Yeah, and I don't think the plus version has anything extra or new. I know mechanically the plus version adds in like the additional, like it adds in new costumes and it adds in accessories that were new, if I'm not mistaken, from that version. Um, which then which then ended up being in the Master Collection iteration, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But I
because the Master Collection version is Sigma Plus.
Yeah, but I don't know if Sigma Plus had any new or original tracks that were then later
I
added
don't
to
think
the
so.
Master Collection.
I don't think so. I've never seen anything for it. I'm pretty sure whatever was in Sigma was in Sigma Plus.
Oh, you know what else is a good track too? Um,
Mhm.
Towards the end of the game, when I think it's just after Ryu beats Alma, and he's
Her theme is really good too, actually, since you bring her up.
yeah,
Everybody
with like
loves Alma's theme. I am one of them.
with the choir and stuff
The
like that.
choir,
Yeah,
yeah, the
just
choir is really good.
yeah, that's a lot of good stuff in the music. But for
Even
me,
Doku's theme is kind of iconic, somewhat.
yeah,
Just to go into that real quick, I don't know if you remember his theme is like basically a bunch of drums. That's mainly what his theme is. A lot of drum soloing,
yeah, yeah,
like Japanese drums. I was like, you know what? Kind of works. Kind of works for a Darth Vader over there. I call him Darth Vader. He kind of is. I mean, let's just be honest.
Darth Vader if he was Bane from Batman, and he was also a weeb.
I'm.
Like,
It doesn't help that when I make fun of him because he literally does talk like Bane. His voice through like the filtering of the mask makes him sound like he's got doing like a Bane impression.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, the boss music in Ninja Gaiden is also just really solid.
Especially in 3. 3 they just went crazy, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the other games at a later point because I do have a plan for when we do talk about the other games. We'll kind of talk about them as a group of friends, but I wanted to do this a little bit differently. But we'll get to that road when we cross it. Um, but yeah, the music in Ninja Gaiden 1 is great. Like I said, I have a particular liking to the more atmospheric tracks, but I do think just overall it's just a nice soundtrack to listen to. I think that's about it. Unless if there's anything else you wanted to bring up before we start to wrap things up here.
How about costumes?
Sure.
It's always a fun topic. And NG1 has quite a history with costumes. Like, unfortunately, the red muffler costume, at least that's what we call it. We don't really know what the actual name of it is. The totally not Hatsuma reference from Shinobi is not in Sigma, and it kills me because it's my favorite outfit. I'm a sucker for red and black. Shocker, the DMC fan likes red and black. Who does that remind you of? Anyway,
It is the
um,
coolest costume, to be fair.
it is so sick. It is really sick. Even Black is missing costumes too from 2004,
Really?
if you can believe it. Yep, there is the Ninja of the Future. I really like that outfit, and it came with the plasma saber for the dragon sword. So you had like a plasma lightsaber along with this futuristic outfit. I'll send you the Ninja of the Future outfit later.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where why I criticize the Master Collection. Like you could have brought in every costume from 2004, Black and Sigma, and just had them all together. We have all these costume options. I don't know why we can't do this.
Or they could have, or they could have just put in all the different versions of both. Well, of all. How am I putting this? They could have did the thing that Capcom did with the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, where they had all the different versions of each game for you to play. So all the
They
versions in
kind of
Ninja
did that
Gaiden
with
one.
the X Collection too
Yeah,
for Mega Man.
yeah. Like I like that approach. If Team Ninja had done that, where like we had all the different versions of Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3, right? Because I'm sure there's somebody out there that actually likes playing Vanilla 3. Um, you know,
I don't know what cave they're crawling out of, but sure.
just where if something exists, somebody has a particular liking to it. I'm sure of it. But you know, it. I would agree. I think they could have handled that much better. Um, Still though, I would argue, despite that, you do if you do want to play Ninja Gaiden, or multiple versions of Ninja Gaiden, I should say. Currently, the best place is Xbox. Ironically enough,
Yep, there's every single version.
but yeah, it's too bad because I think if not combining all the versions, like you said, to have all the costumes, just put the separate versions, and I think that would have addressed it at least, because then you could play the version that you want to play.
I'm only saying they should have shoved all the costumes into one game because, like, the Master Collection comes off like it's supposed to be the definitive way to play these versions of the games, but it's missing content, which is like my biggest pet peeve. It's like, dude, if you're gonna make this a definitive version of whatever game it is, put all the content from the previous version in there. And somebody will say, well, that takes work. I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of expect them to do work. Don't be lazy, especially one of your flagship franchises. Now, I don't know who to blame on that, if it's Koei Tecmo that gave them a very strict limit, or if Team Ninja's lazy. I don't know which one it is. Koei wouldn't put it past me, though. They do strike me like they would not have as much faith and put like harder restrictions on it. But who knows? I don't know what the story is.
Uh, you know what? To play a little devil's advocate and go along with your theory here, I would believe that it's Koei Tecmo, just because I know how bad their DLC practices are in particular. Where I don't know if you've seen like some of the ways that they've handled like DLC for like the Musou games, for example. Um,
Not
like
a whole lot in my case.
they've literally had DLC where you could easily miss out on it if you just didn't pre-order it.
Oh, my favorite.
So, and all
Jesus,
the
that sounds
time,
so outdated.
or actually, in most of the cases, I think in a couple of cases it was also weapons, but in most of the cases it was cosmetic. And that was also the case with like the Fatal Frame games. Although I think they've addressed that to some degree where they've ended up releasing some of that DLC after the fact anyway.
Actually, Dom, you are right. I think it is Koei. You know why?
Shoot.
What is it? Ninja Gaiden 4. There are literally no alternate costumes unless you order the game. Like, they cocked that one up. I think that was Koei's doing.
Yeah. I can see it.
So just to support that theory a bit.
I mean, case in point. I mean, actually, great that you even brought up NG4. We'll definitely talk about that for another podcast in more depth. But NG4's pre-order costume, it's the white armor for Yakumo. I think it's called the Dark Descendant costume.
Yep.
That one was pre-order DLC. You cannot purchase it individually like you can with the other costumes.
Same with his Raven Master outfit, which is my favorite look for Yakumo. I think it's better than his default, personally, but
No,
like, yeah, you can't get that either.
You can. You can.
Can you?
Yeah, through the
They
deluxe upgrade.
They actually sold that?
Through the deluxe upgrade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You
That's still, I'm still counting that. That still counts. That's behind a paywall.
No.
Outside of getting the game.
I'm talking about like stuff you can miss out on. Because like that Dark Descendant costume, you can't get it anymore.
It really was pre-order only. Damn it.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, you cannot get it anymore. So like, so if you missed out, you missed out.
Does that count for Ryu as well? Like his Ninja Gaiden 3 outfit?
No.
Or his blue Shozoku?
No, his stuff you can get through the digital deluxe upgrade.
I'm getting confused with myself because I got the digital deluxe, so I didn't know what was pre-order only and what was deluxe at this point.
Yeah, because Yakumo specifically has that Dark Descendant costume, and I think he's the only one that has the extra costume, because for Yakumo, the digital deluxe stuff was the Divine Chimera and the Master Raven. So you could still get both of those costumes.
Yeah, Master Raven was cool.
Dark Descendant specifically is the one that you can't get. So like I said, I can play devil's advocate with you on that one and aid that theory in that I do believe that is possibly the case. Where they didn't know how to.
If it is Koei, shame on you, Koei. They don't treat, either they're very greedy, or they just don't want to give Ninja Gaiden the time of day it deserves, and then they wonder, oh, why isn't NG selling that much? Like, you guys don't really put your best foot forward with it. But I don't want to get on a corporate rant, but that stuff gets on my nerves. And Ninja Gaiden is brilliant. It's just handled by idiots when it comes to the corporate side of things.
Well, anyway, to take it back to costumes.
Back to the costumes.
I like that costume you start off with in the beginning of the game. And I know...
Oh, Shozoku?
There's the purple one with the chainmail. Like...
Yeah.
There's certain...
Yeah, that's the Shozoku.
Certain versions of the game, if I'm not mistaken, where if you do the first chapter flawlessly, you keep that costume for the entirety of the game. Because it's not an alternate. You can never use it outside of the beginning of the game. You're just stuck with it. You're stuck with the tactical looking one that's on the cover. Or his classic.
I don't know why they didn't make an alternate that you can keep wearing. It's so weird.
Yeah. kind of what I find weird is for Sigma Plus and in turn the Master Collection version of Sigma one is that the Grip of Murder costume is a thing for that game.
Really?
Yeah, for Ninja Gaiden one
Oh
that
yeah,
was
that's
a
right.
because
That's
it
right. That costume is the strongest costume actually in the game because
because
they
it
have
has
stats on
stats.
them.
Yeah, they have
Yes,
stats.
yeah, it is the yeah the your good old grip of murder is the objectively. If you're just trying to meta power game everything, the Ninja Gaiden 3 outfit is the strongest outfit. It has the most benefits and no downsides really.
I haven't seen that costume in like I haven't seen that costume in action per se, so I don't know how much better it is. I just know from hearsay that it is
It gives
definitively the
you
best one.
it gives you attack and defense buffs with no con. It's kind of dumb. Plus, you can still put accessories on. So that's what makes it broken. You can equip accessories that could boost your attack, for example.
Oh, so it just
If you wear
stacks.
yeah, it stacks. If you wear like the Azure Dragon helmet, which already greatly increases your attack but lowers defense, then you could put on the Ninja Gaiden 3 outfit, and now it buffs your attack even more. And if you combine that, if you really want to be a psychopath, combine it with using the dual swords Rise to Heaven on bosses with fire wheels. See how quickly everybody starts getting melted.
Unflawed labor,
The accessories are really broken.
the unflawed laborness. Am I saying it right?
The
I'm like,
unflawed labor.
yeah, I'm just gonna say unflawed labor.
All right, you're saying it backwards.
I can't
It's,
stop saying it backwards, But the wooden sword, the ultimate wooden sword.
the unlabored flawlessness.
Yeah, unlabored flawlessness. I think. Just, do you know how ridiculous that would be just to stack that costume with that sword?
Yeah, that thing already hits like a truck in his base costume.
Like, does does the classic NES costume, does that have any stats on Sigma Plus at all, or
I think all of them do. I just don't know what all their stats are off the top of my head. I just remember 3 because it was the strongest one.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know if I don't know if that was the only costume in Sigma One originally was just the classic, or if they had anything else. Because I've never
They
actually.
had his classic outfit, the dragon muscle outfit, aka his doppelganger thing, because that's what
Oh,
doppelganger looks like in the first game.
yeah. His basically his fiend costume for that game. Yeah, I almost forgot about that one.
I'm trying to think. His defaults, his doppelganger, the NES one, and the NG3. I think that's it. I think those are his costumes. And Rachel got the biker outfit and the. I don't think she had the business lady outfit. I don't think that's what she had in. I think that's in 2.
That's in two
I don't
for
remember what
sure.
the other one is.
They might have added that in Sigma Plus, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's actually escaping me. She has 3 costumes that I don't remember outside of her default
No,
and the biker outfit. Which one it is?
I I think it was the I think I know what it is. It's that like it's basically like the fiend like skin as a bikini.
I thought that was. I know it's 2 for sure.
You know which one I'm talking about though, right? Like I
Yep.
I think it might be that. But don't quote me on that cuz I genuinely don't remember. Was that the future ninja one?
Oh, there we go. There's a better. Yeah, I was just trying to find it. This is a mod, but it looks even better than how it did in black. So I might as well use this version. Yeah,
Oh,
people really like this outfit. I also. This would have been a great outfit for Ninja Gaiden 4. This looks like it would have fit in that game. I'm surprised they didn't bring it back.
You know, it does look like some shit the Divine Dragon Order would wear in 4.
Exactly. And Yakumo got a white outfit. Like, it's sort of cool for Ryu. I don't know why. They really whiffed on that one. And we don't get the Plasma Saber skin, which, by the way, did make the zhoosh zhoosh sound. So it made it even better.
That's funny.
It had like lightning and lightsaber effects on it. I was like, that shit was awesome.
Yeah.
And it is in Sigma. You can use it. There's just no outfit to go with it.
Yeah, I wish they would have kept that. That's too bad. Um, yeah, I think that's another thing they could address in like if they ever do a re-release of NG1 again. Just if you're not gonna bring back the old costumes that were cut from Vanilla and Black, right? At least add in new ones to make up for it. But
Yeah, like if you're not gonna give me new stuff, at least, well, you're not gonna return old things. At least give me something new. Is what I meant to say.
yeah, because I I don't want to get too carried away with talking about costumes from the other games in the series, but I know 2 Vanilla, for example, like yeah, there's a lot of EX color variations of some of those costumes, but there's a lot of fucking costumes in 2, for example, and I don't think we'll ever
I
get
may
that
have to get a
amount.
chart for that one, but that'll be for another time.
Yeah, but yeah, it's cool to see like all the different variations of costumes that one has, and some of the other games as well. So it'd be nice even like if we did get, let's just assume that they call Ninja Gaiden 1's re-release, if it ever gets one, right, Razor's Edge, right, like they drop in his NG4 costume, for example. I think that'd still be neat because like okay, we never had that before, but it's a wait and see. But I do like his costumes in general. I think Ryu's always had some pretty cool costumes overall, and especially in 1.
Oh yeah, one is pretty stacked. Two would be second best, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I think with that we can pretty much wrap up for today's podcast. So, do you have any final thoughts before we do that?
Um, no, I think we pretty much covered most of it. I just hope we get more Ninja Gaiden in the future. That's pretty much it for me. Just
Yeah,
give me more NG.
yeah,
I
I'm
hope
in the
4
same
isn't the
boat.
last thing we're on.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I do hope that we get to see some more Ninja Gaiden in the future. Um, we'll see how things go because all we know is that okay, Ninja Gaiden 4, that one DLC and that's it. We don't know if there's going to be more DLC. We don't know if there's going to be other versions of Ninja Gaiden 4. We just know that
I
that's what we're
doubt it.
left
I
with.
feel like they're done. I might eat my own sock on that one, but I feel like they're done with NG4 because, like, man, the DLC stuff was neat. I don't want to get on a rant about it since we're on one, but like, yeah, it's really short. That DLC really underdelivered. It had a lot more potential to be more than what it is. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I don't know. I feel like they kind of phoned it in with that one, but that's beside the point. Hopefully, we just get more Ninja Gaiden in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Um, with that, since there isn't really much else to talk about, where can we find you, good sir?
You can find me mainly on Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter, I should say.
Yep.
At DevHunterJames.
Well, and you all can find me pretty much anywhere on BioDevil_Dom. I will have a link tree for all the places you can find me on. I do technically have a soundtrack channel now too, but I'm not gonna really promote that one. But it is in the link tree as well, where I'll on occasion upload some extended versions of tracks for stuff that I need for videos. So if you want to listen to an hour long version of a track that doesn't seem to exist on YouTube, well, I may or may not have it. So, with that, I hope you all enjoyed today's podcast. I don't know when we'll get to the other Ninja Gaiden games, but hopefully in the foreseeable future, we'll talk about Ninja Gaiden 2 and Ninja Gaiden 3. But we'll get to that point when we do. But for now, hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.